Hey there, retail enthusiast. I'm Isha Dalal, Solutions Architect at AWS.
And I'm Lucy Moffat, Head of Cross Industry for Australia and New Zealand. We're coming to you today from Sydney, Australia.
Welcome to Retail Insights with AWS, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of retail, uncover the latest trends, and explore how AWS is transforming the industry.
From the aisles to the cloud, join us as we dive under the hood with industry leaders and AWS retail experts. We'll explore the latest trends in customer experience, supply chain optimization, data-driven decision-making, and more.
So grab a cup of coffee, you're logged into Retail Insights with AWS.
In today's episode, we're exploring how customer experience has become the true battleground in retail, with loyalty programs now playing a pivotal role in shaping how brands connect with their customers. Shoppers expect every interaction, whether online or in-store, to be seamless, personalised and rewarding, and modern loyalty programs are at the forefront of delivering this elevated experience.
We'll dive deep into how Flybuys, under Anna Lee's leadership, is leading this transformation, moving far beyond points to become an engine of customer engagement and innovation. By harnessing AI, cloud technology, and deep member insights, Flybuys is reimagining the member journey and setting new standards for customer experience in Australian retail.
Imagine you're grabbing your morning coffee at your usual cafe, and as you walk in, the barista greets you by name and already knows your favourite order. But today, there's something extra. A notification on your app lets you know that you've just unlocked a free pastry, thanks to the cafe's loyalty program. That small, personal touch not only brightens your day, but makes you feel genuinely valued and understood.
This is the kind of experience today's shoppers crave across all of retail. Today's customers have set the bar higher than ever. They expect every interaction, whether online or their phones or in a physical store, to be effortless, relevant, and truly rewarding. And here's the kicker. 86% of shoppers say they are willing to pay more for a standout experience, while over half won't hesitate to walk away after a single disappointing moment. For retailers, the message is clear. Getting customer experience right isn't just important, it's everything.
So what's driving this dramatic shift? The answer lies in the evolution of loyalty platforms. Gone are the days when loyalty was just about collecting points. Now, thanks to AI and advanced analytics, loyalty programs are crafting hyper-personalised journeys for every member. Rewards are woven into every touchpoint, so whether you're paying at the register, browsing an app, or receiving a real-time offer that feels like it was made just for you. When customers feel truly seen and valued, they don't just come back more often, they spend up to 18% more each year. And even a small uptick in retention can boost profits by as much as 95%.
In this fiercely competitive landscape, the brands that are winning are those that use data to anticipate what customers want and technology to make every interaction effortless. Loyalty programs like Flybuys are leading this transformation, turning everyday moments into opportunities to build trust, deepen relationships, and deliver real value far beyond just the interaction.
That's why we're so excited to welcome Anna Lee, Chief Executive Officer of Flybuys, to the podcast. Anna has played a pivotal role in reimagining Flybuys as Australia's top coalition loyalty program, with a relentless focus on using innovation and data to elevate the customer experience. Under Anna's leadership, millions of Australians are discovering a new way to connect with their favourite retailers. Hello, Anna.
Hello, Lucy. How are you?
Fancy
Isha?
seeing you
so
here.
Good to be here. Special AWS podcast. How exciting.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Let's kick things off with a little bit about you and your role. So for those who may not be as familiar, can you give us a little bit of background on Flybuys and also your transition into the CEO role?
Yeah, so I've been the CEO for Flybuys for the last 3 years. My career started originally in a finance background, so finance director, CFO kind of. I'm a fellow chartered accountant. That's kind of my professional heritage. And then a few years ago, I had the opportunity to be the COO for The Iconic, which are, quite a big e-commerce fashion retailer in Australia. And then that kind of really allowed me to move into a more operational business focus and strategic focus role. And then 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to join Flybuys, and really kind of the mandate was really to make it more relevant and take it to the next chapter through a lot more of a customer lens and a digitization of the way that our members interacted with us. So Flybuys has been around for 30 years. It is almost a heritage brand, which is pretty amazing. We are very close to almost 10 million active members. And it is a joint, currently since 2018, it is a joint venture between the Coles Group and the Wesfarmers Group. So it's such a unique place to be, being kind of at the intersection of two amazing retail brands who are passionate about data, customer, and really making sure that our members are getting an amazing personalised experience. So it's just been a phenomenal kind of journey. Absolute privilege to be leading Flybuys into its next chapter, and love to kind of talk more about that today.
Awesome. Thank you. And certainly in the last couple of years, we've seen Flybuys as a brand really evolve. And when you and I have spoken about that journey, it's been relentless member experience. And I think you've said putting the loyalty back into customer loyalty and really positioning Flybuys as a brand that is indispensable to Australian households. And so keen to dive into what that means and how you get to being truly indispensable in Australia.
Yeah, so one of the things that we did first when I came in, the amount of passion amongst all the team members around the member was absolutely inspiring. And however, I think the way that we had kind of arranged ourselves and perhaps not aligning explicitly that it was all about the member was one of the first things I wanted to change. So, at Flybuys, our vision is helping Australians get more of what they value beyond the checkout. And that really allowed us all to unite around what our purpose was. And I think for us, we understand that members only join Flybuys because they want value. There is really no other reason why a member would sign up to be part of a loyalty program. And so whilst a lot of businesses will talk about loyalty and there's different iterations and stuff, at the end of the day, the heart of a loyalty program is being able to provide value back to our member. And I think one of the things that we really realised as a business was starting to look into using our data a bit better, and really understanding what our members were actually getting, how they were behaving, opportunities for us to make that experience better. They were all kind of, I guess, the starting point, the foundations of resetting, what that next chapter for Flybuys was, is to continue providing that value back to our members. So for us, started with identifying a few things that we probably weren't doing as well as we could. So that included the digital experience. We know that, every Australian would prefer to interact with many brands, not just in the physical presence, but also digitally. So last year we relaunched our new app that allowed members to be able to not just know how to obviously scan their card, but also collect points, but most importantly, understand what the value was in relation to those points, make it seamless, make it easier, and understand what they can use their points for, how they can redeem them into really amazing experiences for them. So that was one of the first things. And then for behind the scenes was also a big cultural shift. So, the great starting point is team members who are just, really passionate about members. But actually what we realised that we needed to make sure that everyone was putting together groups that collaborated well. So we kind of put everyone from UX people to engineers to analysts, to product managers and so on. And so we rolled out Agile, which really suits the business really well, to really solve some of those problems to make life easier for our members.
No, thank you. You have touched with so many different aspects of running the business. I'm a big customer for Flybuys myself.
Yes,
I
wonderful.
use it when I go to different either grocery or different brands. I love it. But I would like you to dive deep a little bit more onto that member-centric customer experience,
Yes.
because that's the crux of retailers being more successful.
Yes.
What are the key ingredients you as a leader focus on within your organization when you think of what does it mean to being a member-centric customer experience organization?
So one of the key ways that we look at how we bring the experience to life is, at Flybuys we call it make regular remarkable. And embodied in that statement, we are thinking about the fact that most of our members are actually just what they in their minds would be doing things that are very regular, very routine, picking up their groceries, picking up things for their home at Kmart, or, DIY activities at Bunnings, for example. All of those things we call regular, or somewhat kind of can be a little bit mundane. And our role is to reimagine how people and members can convert that behaviour into something really magical. So we've got members who have actually paid for their whole entire wedding using Flybuys points. So
What?
they decorated,
Crazy.
they bought all the decorations from Kmart. They did a whole lot of props from Bunnings, and all their food was catered through Coles, for
How
example.
savvy.
So very, very savvy. We've also got obviously members who love $10 off their grocery shop because cost of
me.
living is real. And then we've obviously got heaps of members who love transferring their points over to our Velocity partner and using it for their annual holiday. So it's about making those moments really magical. So we kind of center our business thinking about that. And then we work backwards in terms of understanding, how operationally we kind of make that happen. So you kind of talked about, you loved, you always remember how to scan and, get your points and so on. So we kind of look into our data and actually look at our members and go, well, which of the members are the ones that are getting the most value? And we measure that through an equivalent of dollars earned or collected by a member. And we realised that actually those members do a number of different actions. First and foremost, of course, they scan their card. But secondly, they activate their offers. And we, that type of behaviour has probably been not as seamless or easy for our members. And so things like introducing a better user experience through our app makes it easier. They're reminded to have a look at the app regularly to understand what offers there are, and they're simply, with the click of a button, activate that. And, instead of getting just your standard points from a shop, you're getting an extra 2,000 or a few thousand points, which really helps accelerate. You're probably looking at the app and going, wow, there's a few $100s in there or something, that it really starts to be making it tangible. And I think understanding that, being able to measure that and for members to be able to see that, then motivates them to kind of go, okay, this whole loyalty program is worth it. And when I shop with my favourite retail brands, whether that is, Coles or Officeworks or Bunnings, I'm getting something back for that. And that ultimately means, they enjoy that experience. There's an emotional connection to that experience and, really creates that moment of joy when they redeem for a reward, whatever is, they choose to want. And that makes that kind of whole cycle of shopping feeling much less regular.
And much more enjoyable as well. You feel like you're winning, lots of little wins through that
absolutely.
experience, which makes the platform itself and the program really sticky for your members.
And that real magic moment, like everyday lives of Australians, it's challenging. You're working, you're looking after your family, there's a whole lot of things you've got to feed them. Actually, most life is actually quite routine. And so we're here to kind of make that whole regular practice, translate them into remarkable moments.
And at the same time, I think you're touching on such a complexity in that cycle, right? Because you can't measure smiles, but there are all sorts of leading and lagging indicators to whether or not you're doing well. And you've talked a lot about data and you've talked a lot about measuring success.
Yes.
But how have you identified what those key metrics are that really matter to Flybuys, and then how do you track to see if you're being successful in the rollout of these programs?
Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we're delivering more value. I mean, that is in our mission. So there's no point in having,
Value
a
requires
vision
value.
statement. Correct. Yeah. So we first and foremost we are measuring how much value members are actually collecting. So by way of points as well as by way of rewards that they're actually redeeming. If they are not doing those behaviours, there is probably something that not we're doing quite right. And that really hinges on what type of personalisation that we are providing from an experience perspective. So Isha, if you're not doing certain things like checking your app regularly, you're not activating offers, for example, is it because you're not getting enough offers? Maybe you're getting offers, but they're not relevant, for example. Yeah. So, a lot of businesses will ask their members or their customers, but actually because of the rich data that we actually have, we actually use the data to solve what is actually happening. So we want to have our members know that they can actually get value. And the issue will come to, do they know about it? Is it an awareness issue? Is it awareness but they're not activating because it's a relevancy issue? There's a whole lot of things that we're looking at, that kind of whole offers funnel, to make sure that we really understand where perhaps the challenges that they might be having that ensure that they can get the value that they need.
So identifying the trends in the customer behavior using the data.
That's right.
So
exactly.
that you can get the value back to your customers in that way. And what I really liked about what you just mentioned is around Flybuy not being, it's not a transactional behavior. It's more of getting that insight back and acting on that.
That's right.
Insight.
Yes.
And that's the whole reason we see as within the retail industry, loyalty programs becoming so popular or getting more like value to the business as the retail partners as well as the customers, is because of the smile you mentioned. Bringing that smile to the customer, bringing that value to those customers, but also it's bringing the value to the retail partners too.
Yes, that's right.
But again, bringing a conversation back around how Flybuys do transaction, loyalty programs are such a big buzzword into this industry. How do you decipher within your organization? Okay, it's not just a loyalty program. It's more than that. It's about how we work with our customers and bringing it value back. How do you see that?
There are many different iterations within the retail industry. I think the way that we look at it at Flybuys, which I think is quite a unique situation, is we are the biggest retail coalition program. So what does that mean? That means a couple of things for both members and partners. So for members, it means there are more places that they can earn, so with their regular shopping. So, there's very few retail loyalty programs that have the breadth of retailers and the household spend categories that we have. So anything from, obviously our, grocery, but also fuel, convenience, general merchandise, and, home improvement and so on. So there's a whole gamut of categories that our members are shopping. Through that shopping, they can easily collect points that, really add value. So that is quite a big proposition for us. A lot of retailers will have perhaps a mono-brand kind of loyalty, and that is still obviously relevant, but often the frequency isn't there for them to really have a tangible, meaningful level of value. And then from a partner's perspective, again, being a partner of Flybuys means that they are accessing that coalition. So it's beneficial for a partner to be part of a broader coalition-based loyalty program that ensures that they actually benefit. So we know that a member, can get more value if they shop from 2, 3, 4 different retailers within the coalition compared to only one. So, it's about actually how do we serve up right member, right time, right offer. That's kind of what we are all about. And we see that as quite a unique thing that Flybuys can do. And so therefore, if you are a member of Flybuys, we believe that you can get more value from our program. And then equally, if you are a partner of ours, the loyalty and the stickiness that, members will get through shopping as a customer in their retail world is far more superior than other channels.
And one thing I really like about the way Flybuys is integrated in in my day-to-day life. Like, I'm not talking about the industry,
Yes.
but how it is integrated in my day-to-day life. If I'm going for a DIY, there's a Flybuys option there. If I'm going for like grocery shopping, there's an option. If I'm going for stationery shopping, there's an option. So it's more of like being part of my life slowly.
That's right.
And if I'm checking out with my credit card or debit card, the Flybuy card will also go as next tab on there. So
Yes,
it's just getting into a
is.
habit of user. It's not a transactional behavior when we think of Flybuy. It's more of a customer behavior embedding into the day-to-day life. And that's a very powerful signal from a business making an impact to their customers or members' day-to-day routine.
It is. And I think also it's important to know that your experience with Flybuys will be very different to Lucy's experience as a member, because you have completely different lives, and they would be very different to my experience as well, in terms of you may, shop at, Bunnings and Coles, and Lucy, Coles and Kmart, for example, are your regular. And so your experiences and the types of, reward options are going to be quite different, because the ability for us to be able to see what's relevant and what you'll respond to is important to us. And that's how we kind of create that personalised experience. And there's so much opportunity to get that even more so with technology and other things.
I think as you're talking, the central themes around the experience being underpinned by personalisation, so that is the right offer at the right time for every single individual. I think it's all very much wrapped around some of the investment decisions that you've made from a technology perspective as well, and how it is that you're keeping pace and in some instances probably leapfrogging where the industry is heading in order to maintain that advantage. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your thought processes and the journey that Flybuys has been on in leveraging tech to help drive that differentiation?
Yeah, for the last couple of years, we've also, invested significantly on uplifting our, data platform capabilities to enable our whole entire business to really be more data-led in the decision-making. So it makes it a lot more timely, relevant and much more accurate. We've also uplifted a lot of our member-facing communications platforms, the ability for us to be able to much more scalably reach out to each member in their own way. That's enabled us to just modernise and be much more stable and scalable in the way that we kind of connect to members as well. So at the end of the day, we are a program for everyday Australians. So, we are about to get to 10 million active members, but, obviously as we grow, it'll be more than that. That is a huge amount of members to support, help and guide through all of that experience that we just talked about. And that requires a huge amount of technology investment in order to make that seamless. We can't have it clunky. We can't have it because members expect more. These days, the ability for members to be able to do a whole heap of other things, on their phones, in a digital way is phenomenal. And that's actually not being driven by Flybuys. That's driven by just, obviously the technological changes and enhancements that are happening
consumer
every day.
expectations
Exactly.
as well.
Even enhancing, obviously things like our service centre to help our members with the use of chatbots and other technology to ensure that we understand each member's case and so on. All of those things have been harnessed through technology.
Yeah.
That's a plug for Amazon Connect.
Oh, thank you.
It's been game-changing, actually.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I mean, there's always so much work that goes into major technology implementations, and I think the best ones are the ones that arrive on the other side essentially invisible, like you say. You don't see it, but it's seamless and it's delightful because it works, and members will maybe not pick up on that, but they will feel the difference in the user experience and how easily they can navigate across all of these different channels that you've just described.
Yeah, and I think also obviously we talk about technology and it's really important, but the technology is just an enabler for our people and our team members to be able to do their roles properly. So, if you've got our service centre member support squad, for example, that's their primary role is to enhance how we provide help and support for our members. And if we don't enable them with the right tools, all that passion and want only lasts and goes a certain way. Like we've really got to combine, really great people with really great tools, with a really aligned strategy in order for the whole entire business to really be able to kind of deliver on those things. So as a result of that, that's, that type of technology in our member support squad has, reduced the amount of handling time for our member cases. It's obviously, as a result, has reduced costs, which we can kind of reinvest and give back to members as value. But it's also allowed us to be able to measure and monitor and accurately understand what members are actually contacting us for and where those opportunities are for us to improve that experience, whether that is an actual pain point or it's a challenge that we have internally where perhaps the communication lines aren't as optimal because there's an experience that's been experienced by our members. But sometimes they're not direct identifiable problems.
Yes.
There are just challenges where we don't have information flowing in the right way between two teams or otherwise, or even with our partners, for example, because obviously the experience of a member transcends not just with the Flybuys program, but may actually also be interacts obviously with a partner experience as well. So being able to identify, the issues that members are facing in a really easy way, to be able to create the forums where we understand, the customer feedback and be able to really resolve downstream around, is it a conversation we need to have with another team? Is there a conversation we need to have with a partner? And how do we collaborate together to fix some of those issues?
So you must have oodles of free time because your role is so multifaceted, and I do want to get there as well. But, I'm hearing about the organisational strategy and planning, the operational realities of the role, the decisions that you're having to make on a daily, hourly basis. Tell me, help me get into the mindset of a CEO for a minute. And then I also want to take us to a little bit about your earlier comments on people and culture, because I think that is super important from a sustainability standpoint as you're putting this transformation in place.
Oh, CEO role is definitely not as glamorous as most people think. It's certainly the challenge, I think, for a CEO is how to context switch but with focus. So a lot of what I do is also utilising a lot of productivity routines and tools. So my diary is everything. So everything from reading blocks to approval blocks to meetings and so on, and being very ruthless in terms of the types of meetings that I will actually join. And then we've got we call it at Flybuys an orbit, but it's probably a very Flybuys way of saying an operating rhythm. So, all the different, streams of forums where we know that there needs to be forums where we can showcase what has been delivered by the squads. We need to have a regular planning process. So really being able to see from almost a helicopter view around what are the different things that the team members need to do in order for communication and collaboration to happen as effectively as possible, because the biggest killer for, effectiveness and productivity is just miscommunication, meetings that don't go anywhere, all those sorts of things. They become real time suckers.
I'm nodding vigorously.
Yeah, totally. So we're not perfect, but we are certainly moving towards, listening to our people first. I think for us, we really want to empower right down to the squad level how they are solving for the member. And that means they obviously need to have access to the information. They also need to have the right capabilities in the teams in order to do that. And then they also have to have the right connectors, whether they are meetings or other communication channels, in order for everyone to have the right information so that they can make decisions. They can, build features and deliver what they said that they would want to deliver, which then ladders up to what is the strategic problem we're trying to solve. So very much so much of my job is actually just ensuring at every level we have that. For most people, I think they think CEOs need to have all the answers, but actually, one of the things that I've certainly learned over the years is no one person could ever have all the answers, but you can surround yourself with the people that have those skills, and you develop
Absolutely.
trust in your culture in order for information to be flowing up and down. Like we just did our quarterly planning 2 weeks ago, and the whole entire business is invited to hear every squad
Interesting.
talk to what their priorities are for the quarter. And that's after obviously quite a bit of exercise around, those squads actually, discussing amongst each other and negotiating and aligning back to what our targets are, what our strategy is. But that's all transparent. So everyone joins that call, wherever they are, and has access to understanding what each squad is working on. And that removes a whole lot of uncertainty. It adds a huge amount of clarity and trust and transparency, because I think a lot of businesses find it quite challenging because they don't really know why we're doing something, or why that we're not doing something. You have a lot of questions, and it's like, but why aren't you doing that? And it's like, well, because from a prioritization perspective, these are the things that are the most important things. And everyone just goes, oh, okay, that's fine. And once people know, that's quite empowering for our people.
Now, it removes that whole point which you mentioned at the start, is the miscommunication.
That's right.
That the team comes together with the leader's vision, what they want to do. And thanks for diving deep into that aspect of moving the strategic vision into an execution and bringing it out, some results to it. We have seen a lot of organizations having the trust issues, the miscommunication, and being open about that and sharing those priorities is really helpful. Taking a step above from that is Flybuys is a coalition between Coles and Wesfarmers.
Yes.
And so that's another layer of partnership that you need to manage as a CEO.
Yes.
It's not just the internal vision and implementation, all that, but also the retail partners, the big retail partners like that, giants. How do you manage to do that? What are the things that you need to keep in focus of when you're talking about the value you're going to bring it to them and they're going to bring it to you?
Well, first and foremost, the thing that we all center ourselves to is back to the customer, who for a lot of those partners, their customers are Flybuys members. So that automatically aligns what our direction is. So despite them being, different to us and different to each other, that itself unifies. So when, talking to them about what our strategy is and, about helping Australians get more value, there's no denying that. It is a complex stakeholder world, but I love it. I mean, I think some of those businesses are like some of the most successful and the most admired businesses in Australia. Yeah. So I think that, being able to collaborate with them and their talented people, you combine them with our talented people, some of the things that they come up with are just absolutely incredible. Like being able to work on ensuring that you are getting the right type of offer that's relevant to you, based on how often you have shopped with Coles or Bunnings. That relevancy, I think members expect that. I think members expect, but where I've shopped, what I like, based on all my behaviours, and being able to, showcase that with our partners and to work hand in hand to translate that into something really meaningful. I think that's such a great proposition that we can provide our partners, and they're just so excited to work with us. And I think that's such a big change, historically in business. Loyalty has been seen a bit more transactional, and now we have an opportunity to kind of really harness and actually go, how do we make an experience at one of our partners even better than what it is now? Like, I mean, I'm so inspired by the following that, say, like Kmart has, and the community groups, and just the love that customers have for that. And you just think, God, like they're doing such an amazing job. What else could they do to kind of really bring that love, right? And it's like, well, for me, it's like, well, Flybuys is that extra bit, It's like members are already getting amazing. They're enjoying the experience. It's just amazing. The products are sensational at such a great value price. But with Flybuys, you're getting even more. That is like the cherry on top. So that magic is what differentiates and makes that emotional connection deeper.
Oh, that's so well said. I really love that, because I'm thinking about, all of the brands that you partner with under Flybuys, and they are essential to Australian households and brands that we love to use. And so then being that cherry on top, like what an inspiring proposition that you get to do that in your day-to-day job. And I mean that genuinely because, you know, there are certain other brands that you might use because you have to, but actually Flybuys is the ultimate value add for Australia's biggest brands that Australians love and who have earned the loyalty over time. And so it's just another kind of wrapper around this long-term thinking and really how you build out that strategy for member-based, member-first loyalty. Thinking
We've had members since day one. Like we've got members that have been members of the program for 30 years.
It's incredible.
So all the different iterations over the years, still super loyal. You know, I think loyal to a loyalty program itself is pretty incredible. It means that we've probably done a few things right over the years, and now obviously, you know, we keep getting new members and certainly more digitally savvy members. So we have to also keep up with the times. But when I think about those members, like last year we celebrated 30 years and we actually reached out to, you know, quite a few of our longstanding members. And to think about some of those members that, you know, you're talking about 30 years ago, so they were a different life stage. So that also means that when we have that coalition of partners that actually are relevant for all times of their life, there's just this wonderful feeling that we can be with our members as a lifelong loyalty program, not just for this particular moment. And that's what our role is to make it constantly relevant. Like one of the most common things is my mum got me onto Flybuys. That's just like we've made it when there is, you know, intergenerational referrals. That's amazing, you know.
Yes, I love it.
My mum loves it and has just got me onto it. And now, like, you know, I'm setting up my own home and now I can see the value in it. That's that's like
it's a whole other
priceless
lens of personalization because it's, you know, sure, offers and programs and rewards, but also supporting someone through every stage of their life and being the program that is in their pocket every step of the way is, I mean, certainly very unique and very hard to do for 30 plus years. It's just incredible.
Very hard. And I think, you know, that's the key, right? And, you know, back to the role of the CEO, you are, you know, really a custodian of that brand and that business for the time that you're privileged to do that. I'm fortunate to be leading that business now, but the business has had many successful iterations over the years. So the ability to stand here and, you know, be at 10 million members is a privilege in itself. Like to get that type of, and we're talking, you know, we measure active members. So, you know, members who are actually, you know, frequently using the program is quite phenomenal. Programs, retail, any type of business to get that type of scale in Australia is pretty phenomenal.
I can see how passionate you are having that story of 30 plus years and also that generational impact. It's so good to see that. But how do you see these technologies like AI is into retail, pretty much in every industry coming up, right? How do you see elevating that with the existing experience you're bringing? Because technology is, like you mentioned, is a platform that can elevate the businesses. How do you see these new technologies are going to help you improve the customer experience?
Well, I mean, the pace of AI is like nothing that we've seen in so much technology. And I think for us, it is, you know, our stance is about being considered around AI. I think it is very, very tempting for businesses to go and chase that big shiny thing. And I think AI is for sure the shiniest thing. And I think for us, we look at AI as what is the highest value, you know, investment that we can make in AI that will generate the best outcome for, and it has to come back to a customer. Definitely powering right offer, right time, right member. That is a huge opportunity, but it is complex. So we also want to make sure that that process is very thoughtful and highly considered. But certainly from an individual productivity perspective, that's certainly something that we are empowering and allowing our people to start to, we started with a pilot a few months ago with a few tools, and we'll be expanding that to all of our people. But we want to make sure that we do it in a really considered and secure and safe way as well, because AI is just it's a powerful tool, but it needs to be, you know,
Used for
carefully.
good.
Exactly. And we want to make sure that we do it in a governed way. We are a business that also, operates with the high standards around ethics and so on. So for us, it is an exciting opportunity, but we really want to be able to do it in a considered way. And I think it's tempting to say, we're just all in it and stuff. But the reality is, most people that I speak to are thinking very similar. You want to do it in a responsible and considered way.
Responsible AI is a key pillar for the use of AI, especially for established businesses and enterprises, because one of the key things for the businesses is the trust that they have built with their customers.
Yes.
And you don't want to incorporate new tools unless it brings the value. No, but thank you so much, Anna. We loved having you today here. I learned so much I knew about Flybuys. I'm a customer, I'm a member, but to listening from you more about how much you're passionate about your brand and your business, it's so good to have you here.
That's absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Awesome conversation. Today's conversation has highlighted just how much the retail landscape has shifted from transactional loyalty to a holistic focus on customer experience. Anna shared how Flybuys is using data-driven insights and advanced technology not just to personalise offers, but to anticipate member needs and simplify their everyday interactions across a vast network of retail partners. Flybuys is creating a sense of recognition and value that goes far beyond traditional points-based programs, all rooted in a deeper understanding of what truly matters to customers today. You can visit Flybuys at experience.flybuys.com.au.
For our listeners, today's episode highlights the power of putting the customer at the center of every decision. If you are looking to transform your customer experience or loyalty strategy, AWS offers the technology and expertise to help you innovate at scale. Visit aws.amazon.com/retail to learn more.
Thanks again for joining us. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring the latest trends and innovations shaping the retail industry. Stay tuned.